Next up, we have on the page here, Norita Dittberner-Jax. Norita Dittberner-Jax. I invited her today for a special reason, because today's the date of the title of her piece in the almanac. Norita Dittberner-Jax is a technical writer who lives in Minneapolis. A former reporter, she has also resided in St. Paul and Seattle, as well as in Montana, Missouri, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. I also lived in Pennsylvania.
None of it is true.
None of it's true?
It's the wrong bio.
Oh, did I copy the one out of the, okay. Is it, do you have a bio in there that's correct? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I copy the wrong one, or is it printed wrong?
No, it's copied wrong. You copied it.
Oh, okay. I sincerely apologize for that.
That's fine.
Oh, how did I do that? There it is. Okay, that's Libby's. Well, I can tell you all about Libby. Good Lord. Well, this is my first fail. This is my second failed bio. The other one I failed to bring was my own when I read. I forgot to write my own bio. So.
That's fine.
Here we go. I know it's in here somewhere. 391. All right, here we go. Let me tell you. Let me tell you a little bit about Norita Dittberner-Jax.
She's not a technical writer.
Norita Dittberner-Jax is not a technical writer and has never lived in Pennsylvania. What? That's amazing. Norita Dittberner-Jax was born in Frogtown and has lived in St. Paul all of her life. She thinks the city is beautiful with its hills and flatlands congregating around the Mississippi River. Her widely published poetry collections include The Watch, Longing for Home, and What They Always Were. Her fourth collection of poetry, Stopping for Breath, will be published by Melody Press in the fall of 2014. Please welcome Norita.
I'll just put them here.
Okay.
Thank you. The piece I'm going to, the piece from the almanac is called November 22nd, 1963. Can you hear? In my parents' generation, they knew exactly where they were when Roosevelt died. My generation knows exactly where they were when John F. Kennedy was assassinated on this day in 1963. This is where I was. I cut my 1 o'clock class feeling feverish and unable to swallow and walked to the doctor's office off campus. The sky lay heavy over bare trees. If only it would snow, anything to soften the air. At the office, I waited my turn. The clerk had the radio on, and suddenly I heard the bulletin that President Kennedy had been shot in Dallas. Further details to follow, the announcer said. I was called in to see the doctor, whom I knew from my job at the hospital. I chose him because he seemed sensitive. He looked at my throat, asking me if I had contact with anyone with mono, and felt the glands in my neck. As he was tearing the paper off the cotton swab for the culture, I said, the president was shot. He said, serves him right, and swabbed my throat. I don't think I ever in my life have heard anything again quite as shocking as what that doctor said. And I guess my comment about it is that that's what Kennedy was up against, and our other leaders have been killed by violence. I'm going to read, David suggested that we read poems about St. Paul, and I'm very much a native of St. Paul. I taught in its school, so I've been on the east side and the west side, and grew up in Frogtown. This is a poem about the Ordway. which is just a few blocks away, and I wrote it shortly after, probably a couple years before, after it opened. It begins with an epigraph from Ben Thompson, who was the architect. Nobody starts from scratch, especially in architecture. Start with the park, not the trees, but the arrangement of silence that holds them. With the library, the simplicity of windows, clear-eyed in daylight, the balustrades on the walkway slicing light like a sundial. With Landmark Center, the comic aspiration of its horns, the fabulous beast who feeds the souls of merchants and secretaries who know they are secretly royal. Dream it. Do not let your hands begin to draw until they understand the task, to keep the dream intact, that the bricks themselves must be bent and sheathed in copper, curved like a great arm sheltering music. Make the doors large and mahogany, inviting all who enter to be the best version of themselves, waving their colors like flags graced for wind. Start with the park, with trees tipping the wintry night, with the sky, which tires of tinting the whole world and descends on Rice Park. This is about my dad. It's called My Dad Comes Back on Grand Avenue, which is a street that I walk quite frequently. My dad has been gone for a long time, but he is with me often in my mind. My dad comes back on Grand Avenue. He bought big for the family, crates full of peaches from the wholesaler, meat from the butcher in blood-stained apron. I followed him up the steps, watched him bargain, the good-natured barbs, a way to be with him. He relished the give and take of it, the basic transaction of commerce. I have what you need. About my street, he'd think, what a waste. Pots of flowers at the door of the boutique, and who needs an olive oil shop? He's come back in the easiest way I knew him, making small deals, at ease in the world. What he had to teach me took hold, though I wanted more. I walked the streets, cheerful and suspicious as he was, wondering what nefarious deed shut down the restaurant, leaving the table set, napkins fanned, like swans swimming a white sea. One of my last jobs for St. Paul schools, I taught English in high schools in the city. And toward the end, I worked with the staff and faculty at Boys Totem Town and the detention center, the juvenile detention center, which is just a few blocks from here. And that was very interesting work. This poem is called Poetry in the Detention Center. And everything is very locked down. I mean, it took a lot to get into there. You had to have special access. The students were very highly controlled. And so it wasn't at all dangerous for me. It was quite interesting. But sometimes I really felt for them. Poetry in the Detention Center. We come from our separate compartments, they from their carols, I from my usual routine. We form a circle, except for the young man next to me who turns away. I read poems, they read, taking turns, shy. then surprised at the voice that emerges, a hoop of language, a circle of light compared to the concrete blocks of their confinement, every pencil numbered, every fork counted. The door of language swings open, breath warms the circle that begins where it ends and goes round again. We sit in the circle and read and breathe. I went to St. Vincent's grade school in Frogtown. I think it was after it was no longer a Catholic grade school, it was a school for Native Americans, and I'm not sure what it is now. But this is how it was when I was there. St. Vincent's. Over the portal, a merciful Jesus, and the words, "Suffer the little children to come unto me." We came tripping over our names like untied laces, Arlene Perlowski, Frank Habda, Norita Dittberner. The school itself was perfectly symmetrical. The rooms, a series of quiet assurances. We were told that you could walk into a Catholic church anywhere in the world and the Mass would be the same. So we never dreamed of the cathedral at Chartres. Never dreamed anything that couldn't be ordered from Montgomery wards. It might have ended that way except for the principal, Sister Frances Carmel, who lodged like a sliver in the skin, stopping us in choir until she drew from our voices a perfect Kyrie, whose hands moved in arcs of music large enough to encompass us. She was the irritation. She knew how long it takes to make a pearl. At dismissal, she'd stand like a duchess at the portal and let the lines of children pass through her like acres and acres of shimmering wheat. Thank you.